This is Hermanos FC, and I'm joined today with my brother once again. And we're going to talk a little bit about the North London Derby, Spurs versus Arsenal. But first, let's talk about Messi. He's back. You went to the game. Tell me real quick that experience before we get into the main chunk, the main beef stew of this conversation.
Well, first things first, I'm surprised they played him that long because he played the whole goddamn game.
Okay.
Um,
Well, yeah.
I,
What did
I,
you tell me? What did you tell
well,
me that we thought was going to happen?
I thought, he's coming off an injury. Hasn't played again since the Copa America, and even then during the final, he got subbed out. Um, so I thought, put him in the last 25 minutes. It'll
Mm-hmm.
be okay like that. He started the game. He's a freaking magician, dude. It's
Like you
if you
finally
had
got to see. I mean, it's not like you hadn't seen him before, but
Yeah,
you
I've
finally
seen
got
him
to
do it.
like do
Yeah, but
some magic.
I've seen bits and pieces here and there because
Yeah,
not for nothing, he does get injured at Miami the last two times, so he hasn't really been doing his normal magic. And if he does score, does his magic, it's never at home.
yeah, yeah. So you
So
finally got to
yeah,
see
I
like
saw the whole thing, and
yeah.
if you haven't seen him, every one of our all the viewers out here, go see
If
him.
you get a chance to go
If
see
you get a
him,
chance to go see him, go see him. That is ridiculous what he does.
yeah, I
It's not
saw on
fair.
TV. He looked like he didn't miss a
It's
step.
not. It's not even that. It's like you'll see, like obviously in the camera, what you're watching on TV, you'll see obviously the person with the ball,
Mm-hmm.
but you should see like the off the ball stuff. What he does, how he positions himself, how
Yeah,
effortless he makes everything look. It's
no,
wild. Um,
yeah, no. I mean, I've been lucky to see him too, so it's been really cool. But they look good. I mean, the team looks 10 times better with him there. Obviously,
Obviously, yeah.
they won the game. They're in pole position to probably end up first and see how they do in the playoffs. They're already
They're looking probably
clinched.
they're looking probably to get the final if they make it to the final to be home final. Because
Yeah, yeah, that'd be
I think it's best record out of the MLS too.
yeah,
Gets home.
that'll be sick. That'll be sick. Cool hat too, by the way. I didn't know you just bought that.
No, no, no. They So if you show up, if you're have the privilege to go to these Inter Miami games, they give out swag,
You couldn't get me a hat, man.
dude. These things went out like butter, dude. Like hot cakes.
Whatever, dude.
I didn't get Michelle one either. What do you mean?
All
I could
right,
only get one. This things went by quick, dude.
fine, fair enough. All right, let's we'll talk about this later. Uh, we went to the game yesterday. So we're still early goings, kind of give ourselves a day to process. Just kind of initial thoughts. Like, what'd you think? Just
Um,
initial feelings.
I personally I thought we looked better.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we pressed high. Um, we made Arsenal uncomfortable a couple times, right? The only thing is, story of our lives, right? Is we don't know how to finish.
Mm-hmm.
Solanke had a turnover, and he should have ripped it or passed it up top, and
Just nothing happened with it.
nothing
Yeah,
happened. I will say Arsenal's goal. I could have sworn that was a foul on Romero. It
because
felt
you said he
so.
pushed off or whatever.
Yeah, he did push off, which I've seen that called plenty of times, right? I'm not gonna complain about it because, and maybe everybody can weigh in on this too.
Mm-hmm.
The Argentinians have been bitching a lot.
Mm-hmm.
They bitched about when they lost in Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
And now,
Oh yeah, because that was just
yeah,
last week.
that's their whole thing now. And then it just so happened that this happened to Cuti Romero too, and now he's bitching about because I didn't get a private jet and
Okay. All right. So initial thoughts before we get into the juice
I thought maybe I thought a draw,
was
right,
fair,
was fair. I thought that's where the way they were going to anyways.
right?
Um,
But as with most of the games that already this season, they're just not scoring. Even though there's, I think if I'm not mistaken, they have one of the highest per like chances created in the league.
Yeah, which
So
is kind of like it's a story. Well, that's in any soccer thing, guys. If you don't finish your opportunities, it will come back to bite you in the ass.
yeah.
That's just anywhere. So,
So okay. So those are the first things. So the goal that came was from Gabriel, Brazilian. So there's some South American rivalry there for sure. Uh, that being said, you feel like it, like you mentioned, you said it was like a foul. There's a push. I'll probably post a picture here. We can't really use video, so he pushed off of him to gain leverage to
mhm.
obviously put it in the net.
Which in
You,
corners, it's a lot. It's a lot. It's hard, right? Because everyone's kind of pushing, but the clear indicator is the extension of the two hands, which that
mhm.
gives you like, that's literally you have to blow that
Well,
whistle.
how gray is like the ruling for those kinds of things? Like,
I
could
mean,
if it was called back, would it have been fair, or
well,
is it
that's
was
the
it
thing
not
though.
fair that it didn't even get looked at?
I don't say that it's not. Well, they VAR'd it was a problem. If they didn't VAR it, I'd be like, okay, fuck it, let it ride.
Hmm.
But you went to go check it on VAR. You kind of gotta blow it.
Right, but they
Um,
didn't.
yeah, so it's one of those things like if they no one complained, no one said anything, let it go. Corners are
Hmm.
notorious for that.
Hmm.
But they were like, okay, we have to check for a potential foul. I mean,
And then nothing.
nothing. Which I
So,
mean, vice
well,
versa.
okay. So you were talking about that so I don't I don't like to be a fan that makes excuses for a team that I'm supporting or that I like. I feel like just own up to it. We just didn't play as well, or we made that one mistake. Whatever the case situation. In this case, it was a set piece situation, which is like our Achilles heel. Like it's
Yeah, it
like
happens.
the
Yeah, it
thing that
happens.
you can
Yeah.
guarantee that it's something will happen. So that being said, you called it and said it was Cuti Romero's mark that he missed, but you also say that's a foul. But he posted something up. Can you read me what the journalist actually
Oh,
said?
okay.
So
Okay.
he posted a tweet, right?
Uh huh.
And then he deleted the tweet.
I'm gonna paraphrase where he kind of like where it starts to kind of be like, okay, it's a little bit weird, right?
Hmm.
So Kuti goes on to say it gave an advantage because its players arrived with less rest than others. Kuti Romero played with the fever, is what it says, right?
Hmm.
So essentially, what he's saying is that Tottenham let Argentinian Federation do the travel accommodations,
Hmm.
and there's instances where okay they send them out with whatever the Federation has them, but then teams will personally put out their private jet and fly them back. In instances like this, Arsenal flew back Gabriel Martinelli, um, so
Hmm.
they were available to be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday,
Hmm.
Sunday was the game, right? Yeah, Sunday.
Hmm. So.
So Kuti was saying, I think Kuti ended up getting there Thursday. So his rest day, which was the other problem, right? His rest day was a travel day. So it's not,
Right.
and if anyone's ever traveled anywhere, had a long ass
I mean,
flight,
it's a
that's not
case to
really
be made.
rest.
Yeah, it's a case to be made that that's true.
I Here's my thing now. Here's where we get
Yeah.
a
So
little
okay,
spicy.
what's the hot gas
I think you're bitching for no reason.
as him?
Yeah, because
Okay.
let's say his day off was travel, right? That
Hmm.
Friday when he got to which they went to go train,
Hmm.
they didn't put him full training like the rest of the squad. They took in mind to be like, hey, he just flew back yesterday.
Hmm.
Let's send him to the physio room or something like that, or recovery stage, something to get his stamina back up.
Hmm.
Like he didn't go Friday and practice like how everyone else did.
But see, how do you know how do you know that?
I don't know that for sure, but it would make sense to. It's like you won't do that.
I
You
mean,
have
I
to
think
man.
at a professional level, you assume that they would be not
You
making those kinds of
manage
decisions.
people's. You manage someone's. stamina, right? That's why people get play.
Their recovery, their schedule, whatever.
Yeah, so I,
But he
I
also said that he had a fever, is what he also claims, that he was sick. So what is it? He was tired, he was sick.
I don't know, dog. That sounds like an excuse when motherfuckers lose. And
But now here's the
and then
thing. Here's
they
the
did
thing
the
is that a
same.
bit.
They did the same shit when they lost to Colombia. They're like, "Who plays at 1 o'clock?" And that's not the type of games. And that the field was shit. And this, and that. You do know that the other team played in the same conditions that you're talking about, and they won. It's not like they got preference.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I think it's a hard pill to swallow when you lose a game and it's on and it can be pointed to you like you're the one that made that mistake. So
Well,
the
it's not the
ego
that's not
tries.
the only one too, right? Like, I mean, if anyone saw the first game, he lost his mark against Vardy too, right? So,
Mm-hmm.
um, I'm gonna call it out
You've
now. I'm gonna call
you've
it
had a
now.
hot take. You've had a hot take
I'm I,
about.
I'm gonna call it now. He's starting to show and give a personality and kind of do an attitude where he's probably gonna get sold in the summer.
Okay, okay.
Or like
He's
he's like,
he's
I
becoming
don't give a shit.
difficult,
Yeah, he's like,
possibly.
I don't give a shit no more. I'm gonna get sold, or I'm gonna try to
Mm.
make it. I've never seen him be vocal about stuff like this or even say shit. He's kind of just like,
But here's the thing though. If the only reason I disagree is because he deleted it. So there's a conscious effort of being like, okay, I probably flew off the handle. I don't want to portray this image, so I deleted it. I think if he was in the throes of like really, really not giving a shit, then he would have just like left it up and
mm,
whatever. The thing is though, it's the internet. It lives forever. It's not like he can't take that back
no,
anymore and be like,
not at all.
oh, I never said that. It's like now you have to kind of live with the consequences of that because now you might be the guy that's difficult or whatever the case may be.
Hmm.
What do you think needs to happen from here on out? Ange had a really, really funny quote where he
No,
said he was asked, "You normally win in your second season. You win things in your second season, like normally. The word was like that's what you do or that's how you eventually or whatever the case may be." And he doubled down and said, no, I always win in the second season. So he's
look,
doubling down even though
as
the team's
as
looking the way it's
uh,
looking.
as long as Tottenham, or if they can find their shooting form
Hmm.
with, because they're all absent, all of them, right?
Right.
It's not.
It's
It's
hard to
not.
say that one guy the other guy
Yeah.
the one that's
So
all kind of.
as soon as Solanke gets his form to his finishing form, Son, Brennan Johnson, Kulusevski, Madison, they're they're they'll be a little scary. They'll be tough to handle. I don't think they'll win the league or anything like that. Don't get me wrong.
Hmm.
I don't see them being like, oh yeah, we're gonna
But
win the Prem. No, but
but they're in
they'll
tournaments.
yeah, they're in tournaments. If they could find their form, maybe they can make a run for they're in their Europa League this year.
Hmm.
Maybe they could do a run for that.
There's cups, there's tournaments
Cups.
that are being played for that there's still a possibility. The last thing I wanted to say, just food for thought before we go, is the last time that that Spurs were had this record, but they had the numbers to back up. So it was like they weren't doing great, but they still had numbers to back up that they were on the cusp of being great. That the last time that that happened was when they were in the competition to win the Prem, but Leicester took it. That was the last
Mhm.
time that they were in this same situation
Okay, that's
where
interesting.
they lost their same amount of games. Like it was under Poach and all that stuff. Also, it's official. Poach is an American. We called it.
I told you
So
guys. He
we were
texted
ahead
me.
of the curve. But yeah, okay. So anyway, that being said, disappointing loss because it's a huge
It's a
game to
derby.
play.
It's a rivalry.
Yeah, it's a huge game to play. But silver lining is that we didn't look bad. Like we
No.
just the team didn't look bad. The numbers don't lie. It was one of those things where like they need to improve on certain aspects of the game that for them to elevate, but for them to play a team that has been for the last 2 seasons the direct competitor to Man City and possible also themselves possible champions is a testament to how good the Spurs have gone within a season
Yeah.
of and they're still in their rebuild. So it's good. I think it's good signings. I think people losing their shit now are like they don't watch sports enough to understand that like these things take time. Arteta had how many years to
Yeah.
set up his team? They had
Yeah.
5. He's at 5 years now, I think, or 6. And um yeah, so let's just all be gentle. I think for the next podcast, I definitely want to have Arteta come. We're gonna call him, and he's gonna give us a kind of a rundown of what he thought of the game.
Oof. All right.
But that'll be I think for the next derby. I think we'll have
Okay.
him call in. He's a friend of the show. But with that being said, any last thoughts on the game, on what's going on?
No, I got nothing else. Everyone, don't hate me for my hot takes.
All right, all right.
It's
No one's gonna hate you.
they come with love.
Well, look, thank you again, everyone, for listening, for watching, for subscribing. It's been amazing. Please continue. It really does help the channel out. And we'll talk to you on the next one.
Later, guys.
Bye, everybody. Suck it, bye. All right.